724, Big Chicken on the show. V103, the ATL's number one for hip-hop, R&B, and throwbacks. Jazzy McBee.
Yes, good morning.
Joining us this morning is Judge Christina J. Peterson in the building. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
In case you're unaware of who we're talking about, Judge Christina Peterson, Douglas County's probate court judge, first African-American and woman probate judge of Douglas County. She's the first African-American and woman judge who was initially elected to the bench by the people as opposed to being first appointed. My first question, after reading all these headlines, are you still Judge Christina Peterson?
Well, I will always be judge, but no, I'm no longer serving as of yesterday from a Supreme Court decision.
Okay, this decision says you acted in willful judicial misconduct. And that stemmed from 50 ethics charges?
Well, if you have just started following, it's kind of a long story. But basically, when I was elected, there were certain subsets of the county that didn't want me to be serving Douglas County. Of course, I was a history maker. I was the first female, first black, first Democrat, because we're still partisan in that race. So ever since I was elected, people started filing charges, frivolous complaints against me, baseless complaints. But the JQC was weaponized, honestly, in my opinion, against me and pursued these charges. So ultimately, they came up with 50. If we break down the 50, you would be thinking, why are we here? But in essence, we went to trial on the 50. They dismissed 20. They don't talk about that. They dismissed 20 before we even got to trial. Okay. When we went to trial, the hearing panel got rid of another 10, so 20 was left. And 20 stemmed from 5 incidents that had really, if you want to be honest, nothing I could control.
Okay.
So it's kind of how they ran it in the media. They tried me in a court of public opinion instead of really looking at and seeing if I did anything. Nothing I have done has been willful.
Right. So
misconduct.
What were they saying that you violated? Like which conduct?
Well, for starters, if you look at these charges, all of them were pretty much run by one station. It was Fox 5, and it was a Randy Travis.
Oh.
Okay. And all of those were leaning articles. And basically, one charge was they said I did a courthouse wedding where I violated courthouse security. Oh. But when we went to trial, you saw that I didn't let those people in the courthouse. That was the sheriff's deputy that did that. So if you see on the video, it was 15 people coming in the courthouse. That wasn't Judge Peterson. That was the sheriff's deputy conducting his own African wedding and letting 15 people in. They just manipulated the video and made it look like I was doing it.
Oh, but were you there?
Yeah, I was there, but I had a wedding. I had a Hispanic couple, a couple and their 2 kids, and I was going to do mine outside, but then I called the sheriff and I said, hey, your people are here. They're doing weddings. He was like, well, my pastor deputy is there. You go on this side, you're fine. There's security. So I went inside and did my wedding because his deputy was there doing his, and he had the door open. Never mind that. They said, well, we get to trial, and the sheriff was like, I don't believe I said that. I don't know, trying to, play the game. And in essence, they, the panel stated they believed the sheriff when he said, I don't think I said that. I don't think I said that.
Oh, wow.
So then, but the evidence came out that we don't have a policy. There was not a courthouse security protocol.
So how did you get in trouble for it?
Because it's me.
Oh.
You have to understand what this is.
So
that is because it's me.
When the panel says they identified 28 proven counts of misconduct out of 30 alleged violations, as me reading that seems like they said you definitely did 28 of the 30.
And that is something. So I don't know. Y'all haven't really been following the trial and the. I don't know if you've been following. The trial was actually published on YouTube.
Okay.
So all of it's on YouTube. There's other charges such as there was a case where a woman thought I didn't sign an order in time. It had been 60 days. Keep in mind that I'm still waiting on judges to sign orders in cases that I filed 10 months later.
Oh, wow.
So I'm getting charged with not signing an order in 60 days. And then there was an issue where when they came into my court, I have clerks. So most judges are just judges. The probate court, you have to supervise the whole staff. You have to train them. And I had to take on that coming into this office because the prior judge was not an attorney. Mm-hmm. He was a judge. He didn't have court, anything. So when I came in, I had to teach everybody everything. And so they were doing a practice of backdating. If I sign an order on the 18th, they would backdate it. If they got it, they would backdate it to the 18th, which is improper. And I didn't know they were doing that until the JQC filed that complaint. Well, my staff, when they were testifying and they were deposed by the JQC, told the JQC, Judge Peterson didn't teach us that. The prior judge did. Oh, well, Judge Peterson should have known y'all are doing it, so we're going to charge her.
So basically you are the manager of that staff. So even though you didn't know, they still held you responsible. Right. But even though you had all these different violations, you were still allowed to sit on the bench.
Right. But keep in mind, if you had that same energy with holding me to the standard of perfection and making sure when I come in the door, I know everything and I know all the practices. If you had that same energy with the prior judge, I wouldn't have to come in here and correct anything. You understand? So that's kind of where we're at.
Christina Peterson is in the building this morning with the Big Ticket Morning Show on V103. I can't imagine yesterday was a good day for you.
It was all right.
I mean, you were.
I'm still blessed.
You were
You're still
removed
pushing through.
as a judge after being elected. So, what was your morning like this morning? Like, what were your thoughts?
Honestly, I was in expectation of it. Yes, I was. I was in anticipation of it. I have been attacked since I've been in office, and these attacks are not like if I could tell you what's going on, you would think it was. I mean, people talk about different Illuminati and stuff like. I mean, this guard in Douglas County is a whole different beast.
And you were elected 2020, right?
2020, and I started in 2021. So since I started in 2021, I mean, I've had to endure a lot of things. I'm talking about attacks. I'm talking about lies. I'm talking about groups of people getting together and conspiring against you. I'm talking about they're using their news media to put out lies about you and to ruin your reputation. I'm talking about driving down the street with my foster baby in the car and my car catches on fire. I'm talking about real things.
Who did all that?
I'm talking about real attacks. They don't want, you're not welcome here. So
in Douglas County, is that what you're saying? Okay.
Correct.
For your term to be ending in December and them to still proceed with the fervor that they did to get you removed with only really 6 months to go, what did that say to you?
It said to me that they were overzealous about their focus and their intentions. I say they did what they needed to do. I think they're really pushing for the lady that ran against me. They're really pushing for her to be in office, and they were really upset at how I was exposing the things that she has done. So she's not even qualified to be running for that office. She hasn't had the requisite, she hadn't lived in Douglas County for the 2 years required for her to live there. I have presented that information to the governor, to the Secretary of State. I've presented that information to the Attorney General, and basically if you look at her documents and what she's done, she could possibly be charged with felonies. So therefore, you're exposing what we want, so let's try to see if we can get something on you. So
you think this is pretty much a vendetta out on you? Do you think that?
Of course. You got to know. Yeah, and I just wish, I just wish everybody understood what went on behind closed doors in these politics, the political world, because what you see out there is not the story. I have always been a woman of character, always been a high-performing woman with no issues until I got into this political realm. So I just hope you take a moment to try to understand what's really going on. Former
Douglas County Judge Christina Peterson is sitting with us this morning. When we come back, we'll talk about this viral moment. Hear why she says it was all a setup. when we come back next on B103. Sitting with us this morning, former Douglas County Judge Christina Peterson, who was removed from the bench yesterday by the Georgia Supreme Court. A lot of people seem to think the incident at Red Martini was the final nail in the coffin. An Atlanta police arresting officer accused Peterson of punching him. A statement from the department accuses her of pushing the officer twice. Peterson faces battery on an officer and felony obstruction of law enforcement charges. Her attorney, Marvin Arrington, who is representing her, maintains that this was a misunderstanding. She was breaking up a fight, believes the case will be dismissed. The body cam and cell phone footage was released and gone viral since. After we listen to this, I want you to tell me what we don't see in the video.
No, he just punched me. Everything for no reason. Right, let him go. Let him go. Let him go. That's a cop.
What are we missing?
You're missing what happened before that. You're missing the attack on the woman. That's what you're missing.
So what I saw in the video, the woman is screaming, "Hey, he hit me," and you're saying, "Let her go," right? In the video.
Correct. Then the guy that I was talking to was not an officer. I was talking to the guy that was holding her. Whoever that was, I don't know if he was security or whatever, he didn't have authority to be putting his hands on her. She has already been attacked. I don't know if he's part of this attack. I just know I have a right to defend third parties. I know she was a victim, and I know you needed to get your hands off of her.
Did you know her?
No, I don't know anybody.
Oh, you didn't know her at all?
I didn't know her. I just saw her getting attacked, and I mean, how that man was punching her, it was like he was in a boxing ring.
Were you the only one standing up for her?
Yes. And I just didn't, listen, I was minding my business, and let's be clear, I just don't go to that place. I have a friend who, it was his birthday. I love this friend. He's a very kind guy, and I said, okay, I'm gonna go. And it was a night that was fine, and then we were just waiting in line to get some hot dogs, some stuff we don't need at 2 a.m. or whatever. So I just know that I just was sitting there, and then all of a sudden, I'm shifting on my feet because my feet hurting, and then I just saw these. They just come past me, and just the man just started hitting it and I'm like, I'm shocked at this point. Like I'm like triggered. Like what in the world? Like I don't know if it just really did something. So I knew I didn't have any might to stop him. I can't punch him. I can't do anything. Right. But I could try to. He was pursuing her, so I tried to pull his shirt and just get him off of her.
So was he okay, so they said the allegations are you put your hands on the officer, right? That's what they're saying, but you're saying you didn't see him in officer clothing or uniform?
That's two different things. So basically you're talking about, so there was an attack, and then there was when I was trying to get her out of the man's grasp.
Gotcha, okay.
At that point, the man's grasp is when they're trying to allege that I hit an officer.
Okay. So when you were trying to tell them to let her go, an officer actually grabbed you and told you to get away from the situation, and that's when
the officer said nothing to me. The officer hit me to the ground.
He what?
He knocked me. He knocked me out. He didn't say anything to me. He didn't give me any commands. He didn't say he was an officer. So, but we'll talk about. I can't really speak much about that. But I'm just saying, on the video you saw, you didn't see anything but me talking to the man holding that lady, and you see me get knocked out by an officer. That's what you saw.
Afterwards, there's other videos that have come out. Let's listen to some of the other interactions.
No, take me. And I don't care. You don't need the identification. You have locked people up, and you have picked up dead bodies when you don't know who bodies it was, but you picked them up. Take me where you need to take me.
I'm trying to.
No, take me where you need to take me immediately, expeditiously.
And you have prevented
Take me. I could give a damn. Take me where you want to take me.
How do you want me to take you somewhere expeditiously?
Now. Take me where you want to take me.
Answer the criticism being placed on you that this is not conduct becoming of a judge.
Mm-hmm. Well, I understand that. Again, you're looking at the effects. You're not really understanding the cause. In that instance, if you've been violated, I don't know if you all have been violated by an officer. I don't know how you have been. In my opinion, honestly, I can't go too much into it, but what I think the officer was doing was trying to cover up his improper acts. He rode around with me for 7 hours. He arrested me at 3 o'clock, and I didn't get to the jail until almost 11.
Wait, so okay, between that time, what were y'all doing? What was he doing?
He was antagonizing me. He was, remember, the
for
cuffs,
7 hours.
listen, the cuffs were so tight. I had bruises on my arms. I mean, listen, he was stopping his car and getting out, and he was nervous. He was visibly nervous, and he was making phone calls, private phone calls.
Wait a minute. So for several different hours, you're saying 7 hours. So from what time to what time again?
3 until after 10. That's when I got to the jail, and I'm gonna say that I believe he was trying to cover his tracks. He had violated me, and then when he found out and he knew on scene that I was a judge, because once he put me in cuffs, people were like, "That's a judge." So then I think he had to come up with that whatever story whatever they ran on the news. So it was inappropriate. I asked him I said, "Am I under arrest? If I'm under arrest, I would like an attorney before I give you any other information, because if somebody ever lies on you, you need an attorney. We don't need to even have any more conversation." So that's what I did. I said, I don't want to give you anything. And moreover, I would have my license if you didn't knock me out and my purse got taken. You understand? You didn't even let me get my belongings.
Girl, they ain't let you get your wig.
Not at all.
They got her out there with the braids.
Correct.
I said, oh my gosh.
Correct.
No, ma'am.
Correct.
So
Correct.
What would you have to say about some allegations, and people are saying that you were probably under the influence?
Not under the influence. I mean, I drink wine. I had a glass of wine, but it wasn't under the influence like that. What you saw was someone that was upset. What you saw, I was crying at times.
I did to that.
Yes, and when I cry, I get shaky and and I'm really sensitive. People think I'm a real strong woman because I will protect anybody. I will fight for anybody, not physical fight, but fight under the law and fight with God's help. But I'm talking about you're not in trouble. You don't. That's not a crime to have a glass of wine. A crime is to drink and drive. A crime is to that. A crime is not to protect someone that's getting attacked. A crime is not to get a woman out of a grasp of a man who doesn't have the right to be holding her and detaining her, who let the attacker go, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. They never spoke to him. Here's the thing. I'm being charged with obstruction. The officer keep in mind, when I was originally charged, it's disorderly conduct.
Right,
But then 7 hours later, it was felony obstruction. Okay?
Wow.
And keep in mind,
Is the battery charge still there?
battery was never there until 7 hours later.
So,
and then keep in mind, when you just read the report, you said the first report said I punched him. I think the real first report said I punched him in the head. Now it's reduced to I pushed him a couple times.
Correct.
Wow.
I'm gonna let y'all sit with that.
So we're talking to former Douglas County Judge Christina Peterson. In regards to the under the influence, and no, it's not a crime to have a glass of wine, but there are people who will point to that you look visibly under the influence for some people, and they will say, as a judge, that you're held to a higher standard than the average person. The whole thing before your name is called honorable.
Correct.
There are some people who say that you weren't behaving honorably. What would you respond to those people?
Well, first, I don't know I haven't heard anybody who said I looked visibly other than the officer. That's the only person who said I was visibly intoxicated. I haven't heard anybody on the scene. There's a lot of witnesses. I have at least 10 who didn't believe that. I think, like I said, he's covering tracks. I believe that my language, like when I go back and look, that's not how I usually talk. That's very
That sounded like Memphis.
Listen, and I'm not from Memphis, but I don't know if you've ever, I used to be a prosecutor, and as a prosecutor, we fight for victims who are abused all the time. And it's like when I saw it personally, firsthand, that's just where I went with it. And the problem is, if you know you're not an officer and you don't have a right to be holding this woman, when I asked you to let her go, I'm grabbing on her arm and I'm asking you to let her go. Why didn't you just let her go? I mean, you wasn't helping her. You didn't investigate.
It was a lot of chaos. It was a lot of chaos
why would
outside.
you, if a woman has been attacked and she's traumatized, why do you have her in your grasp?
I was just surprised because you were the only one to come to who I thought this was your friend. Because I'm
I didn't know any of these people.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know the man who was attacking her. I didn't know the girl. I didn't know her friend. I didn't know these people. I just knew it was inappropriate. And like I said, that would be my, like I said, you're going to see what they want you to see. Even when they release the body cam, if you notice, they put narrations at the bottom. She ran up and she rushes up and strikes the officer. You don't see that in the video. See, what happens with video, a video speaks for itself. You don't need narrations. They're wanting you to see what they want you to see. So if you look at it without the narration, see what you see. Play it in slow motion and see what you see.
Again, former Douglas County Judge Christina Peterson here with the Big Ticket Morning Show on V103. What's next for you? Where do you go from here?
Well, I mean, I'm going to continue to fight for the people. I've always been, like I said, a high performer. I'm still an attorney. I'm still doing great things. I'm multifaceted. I still have other talents. You know, I do acting and sing on the side. So I'll continue to do what I do. Nothing is stopping for me. Just just the bench is the difference, you know. So that's the only thing. I'm going to continue to do the good work. People are still going to retain me because I fight hard for all. Listen, before I became a judge, I never lost a case.
Okay.
Never lost. Not civil, not criminal. Never lost a case. Now, when I became a judge, because they're attacking me, they've dismissed and tried to fight me in the court of law with their judge friends. But before this, I've always won. I never lose. So I'm going to continue to win.
Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
If people want to get in touch with you or stay in touch with you, where do they go?
You can, well, you know, I am this generation, so we're on Instagram. So you can go to Official Christina J. Official Christina J. A lot of people have been following my Peterson for the People page, but my main page is Official Christina J. Okay. So, yeah, you can
listen,
me there.
If Trump can still run, hey.
Yeah.
There you have it. Finish the sentence.
If you want it done right, listen, if you want it done right, don't listen to what you hear in the news. See what the person, what that work that person does. Nobody has run that probate court better than me. And you better understand, you can go up to talk to any of my girls that work there, and they will tell you that they are upset about the decision and upset that I'm not there. But I'm still covering them and I'm still praying for them over there in Douglas County.
Okay. We're praying for you in your future
Absolutely.
endeavors
Wishing
as well.
you the best.
Christina Peterson here with the Big Ticket Morning Show. We'll be back with more next on V103.